going for a one specific player. In their most recent hint, they had the number 3-5 visible. The Dallas Wings have also spent millions and millions and millions on bigs. So Betts, I would say Betts and Fam are kind of almost out of the question. Maybe not Betts more so than Fam. There's still a possibility to take Awa. But I do think the real debate is going to be between AZ Foot and Olivia Miles. I think they're going to take...
With the draft just hours away, here is a final projection of all 3 rounds and what each team is expected to do. Pick 1 belongs to the Dallas Wings, and the organization has been dropping strong hints about their direction, most recently with imagery tied to the number 35. Having already invested heavily in front court players, the Wings appear unlikely to prioritize another big. The more compelling debate for that spot is between Awa Pham and Olivia Miles. The better fit for the team's needs would likely be Miles, given that the Wings still lack a true point guard.
I mean, AZ Foot and Olivia Miles. I think they're going to take AZ Foot. I think they should probably take Olivia Miles. They still need a point, and we're going to see the problems again. We're going to see problems again with this team where Paige dribbles the ball up and passes the ball and doesn't touch it enough. And yeah, the Enrique thing is what it is. So I don't think it seems to be very good still. They're going to take AZ, and I don't know if AZ... They will start AZ, but I don't even think AZ should be starting. I think they need a true point guard beside Paige and Enrique to get the ball to Paige. So with the number 2 pick, the Minnesota Lynx. So
without one, the same problems from previous seasons are expected to resurface, with Paige struggling to operate without a proper facilitator beside her. Despite that, the Wings are projected to take Awa Pham at number 1, though there are questions about whether she would even start given the current roster construction. At number 2, Minnesota Lynx have lost interior depth with both Jess Shepard and Alana Smith gone. However, many observers are overlooking the arrival of Dorka Juarez, a EuroLeague MVP candidate who has shown significant improvement over the past 2 years and is expected to step into a starting role. Combined with Emma Zaleska as a younger developing big, the Lynx's frontcourt situation is less dire than it appears.
So, with the number 2 pick, the Minnesota Lynx. So, the Minnesota Lynx have lost... They're bigs. They've lost Jess Shepard. They've lost Alana Smith. So everyone just assumes they're going to sign Lauren Betts. And people don't realize they have one of the EuroLeague MVP candidates coming in. Dorka Juhas is coming in this year for them. And Dorka Juhas projects to be a starter. Like, she has improved a significant amount over the last 2 years. Decided she didn't want to come over last year because of Eurobasket. And just didn't want to. Dorka Juhas is an incredible player. Probably going to come in as a starter.
With Courtney Williams operating more naturally as a shooting guard, the Lynx are projected to use the 2nd pick on Olivia Miles to run the point, creating a backcourt pairing that gives them a legitimate facilitator for the first time in years. The 3rd pick goes to the Seattle Storm, and this is where the draft becomes unpredictable. Seattle has effectively entered a multi-year rebuild aimed at positioning themselves for the 2027 draft class. Having signed players on modest deals and operating with limited expectations for the current season, the team is unlikely to invest a high pick in a player meant to contribute now. Taking F.A.J. Johnson at 3 is the projection here.
You've got Emma Chekova there as a young big. So a lot of people are talking about, oh, this team's going to go for a young big, this team's doing this team's doing that. This team's going to go for their out-and-out big. My guess is that they're going to go long-term here. And if you guys don't know, Cheryl Reeve sees, as always, everyone said Courtney Williams isn't a point guard. She's a 2 guard that's playing the point. I think they take Olivia Miles here too. My logic is that I think...
She had a difficult final college season, but the raw upside remains compelling, and Seattle's fan base would likely embrace her energy even through a tough year. Washington Mystics hold the 4th pick and face a similar situation. With the Shakira Austin contract situation still unresolved heading into draft night, there is a possibility Washington lets her walk and uses a top pick to reshape the roster around Sonia Citron and Kiki Fenning. Whether Kiki projects long-term as a 4 or a 5 remains unclear, which is part of why pairing her with Awa Pham makes sense positionally. The Mystics are projected to select Awa Pham at 4.
The logic is I think Olivia Miles will start at the 1. They're going to start Court Williams at the 2, Kayla McBride at 3. And Olivia Miles is going to be that facilitator because... they're not going to sign their young high upside big. They're not going to draft Awa. They've already taken Emma Chekova. Not as good as Awa, but a young high upside big. Dorka's coming back over. You brought in Natasha Howard. So I'm like, Lauren Betts isn't going to start when they have their full team with Fee in there. So My guess is they're going to bring in Olivia Miles. I know she doesn't like.
Chicago Sky sit at 5 and are in an unusual position of relative roster fullness. With 11 players already signed and a starting 5 largely determined, the need at 5 is mainly around depth. Lauren Betts is the projected pick here, with the logic being that if the fit with Angel Cardoso ultimately does not work, one of them can be moved. The Sky have reportedly been high on Cardoso, but Betts at 5 is too good a value to pass up. Toronto Tempo at 6 are firmly in win-now mode and have no intention of drafting a project.
Olivia Miles. I know she doesn't like young point guards, but they still have Court Williams to play decent minutes. So I think Olivia Miles is going to come in there as the point guard. So with the number 3 pick, Seattle Storm. So the Storm have just paid Ezi Magbagor the biggest contract in WNBA history, and they already have Dominique Malonga. So for me, this is where the quote unquote surprises are going to come. This is where the surprises are going to come, because it doesn't make any sense for them to sign Awafam or to sign Lauren Betts.
With their roster built around Marina Mabrey, Brittany Sykes, Julie Alamand, and the likely addition of Shakira Austin, what they need is a power forward to complete the starting unit. The projection here is Ganna Nepkins, a player who fits that profile and can provide immediate shooting off the wing. Portland Fire at 7 are purely chasing upside. With expectations of a difficult first season as an expansion franchise, the organization is focused on building toward the future. If Kiki Rice is still on the board at 7, the expectation is Portland takes her, despite the fact that she may not yet be ready to contribute meaningfully at the professional level.
Sense for them to sign Awafam or to sign Lauren Betts. Or the draft. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And this is a team, if you guys don't know, that are in tank mode. They are in tank mode. They paid Steph Dolson $750K. They are not. This is a team that might win 12 games. They're not tanking for this season because they're not going to get a good enough pick this season. They are tanking for next year. They're tanking for the Sarah Strong draft. And that's the problem, is you have to tank 2 years out in the WNBA. You can't just tank for 1 year. They are tanking for they're about to tank for.
Golden State Valkyries pick 8th, and the organization has shown a consistent pattern of targeting French talent. Nell Angloma fits that mold precisely. She is the most relentless interior finisher in this draft class, capable of attacking the rim at a level that stands out even among her peers. The inability to shoot from distance is a limitation, but Golden State has shown willingness to incorporate players with that profile. Washington Mystics return at 9, and Tia Latson is the projection.
You can't just tank for 1 year. They are tanking for they're about to tank for 2 years. So my expectation is that they could very well take a stash. Like it is not beyond possibility that Awafam is not the first Spanish player off the board. Like that is not out of the realm of possibility. I am thinking there is a possibility Nell Angloma gets taken here, but I'm actually going to say that Flaw J. Johnson gets taken at 3. A bad senior season, but a high upside player, and she's going to be fun. Like fans in Seattle.
Her presence on the board this late would represent strong value, and she has the skills to serve a similar offensive role to what Brittany Sykes has provided elsewhere, eventually growing into a genuine scoring option. Indiana Fever at 10 present, one of the most interesting selections in this draft. The franchise is operating in a compete-now frame rather than a pure win-now push, with ambitions to build toward legitimate contention by 2028 and 2029. The best available player at this point in most evaluations is Martina, a Spanish forward who has already received MVP nominations in a league filled with WNBA caliber talent. At 20 years old, she has won a World Cup MVP over players like Hannah Hidalgo and Madison Booker despite being younger than both.
The news dropped, bro. I'm telling you, I'm the fastest in the world, bro. Ain't too many people faster than me. Now, with that being said, let's head on over to Yahoo Sports and pull up this Caitlin Clark article that was released this morning. So this right here came out early this morning. This is actually speaking about Caitlin Clark reaction to Chloe Bibby and Christy Wallace leaving this team. It stated Caitlin Clark reacts to losing teammates in the WNBA expansion draft ahead of the 2026.
She defends, plays downhill, and projects to continue improving. The Fever are expected to take her at 10. Washington Mystics at 11 used the pick on Gabriella Hawkins, the UCLA product, who fits with the program's coaching connection to that school following the hiring of Michaela Anur. Connecticut Sun at 12 select Medina Okot, one of the highest ceiling players remaining.
Reacts to losing teammates in the WNBA expansion draft ahead of the 2026 season. Now, we know the expansion draft came with some drama, man, because the drama, what led up to this was the CBA negotiation, man. Now, Chloe Bibby was signed by the Fever in late July 2025. Instantly a fan favorite, instantly came in and did her job. Impactful player. I give her that. Now, she had been dealing with numerous injuries across the roster in 9 games with the Fever. The forward averaged 4 points, 1.8 rebounds, and she played.
Standing a legitimate 6'6", she is a year-one developmental project who benefits from being in an environment with Brittany Griner serving as a veteran mentor. The pairing has real potential for long-term development. Atlanta Dream at 13 have assembled one of the stronger rosters in the league heading into this season, with Angel Reese returning alongside several key pieces. What the bench needs most is a 3-and-D option who can defend multiple positions.
1.8 rebounds, and she played a total of 9.8 minutes a game, providing Stephanie White team with some much-needed depth. And with the number 11 pick in the expansion draft, Portland selected Bibby, leaving her off the Fever roster for the 2026 season. Christy Wallace also, she took the entire, I think everybody forgot about Christy Wallace being on the team, because I damn sure did. I ain't gonna lie to you. But Caitlin Clark, shout out to Chloe, man, who be tracking a lot of this information down. Chloe captured Caitlin Clark.
Marta Suarez is the projection here. Despite some scouts not viewing her as a typical first-round talent, the Dream needs someone who can stretch the floor and not hurt the rotation defensively. Seattle Storm at 14 take another swing on upside. Janiyah Barker is the pick.
Captured Caitlin Clark reaction. Caitlin Clark said, K-Dub ill. Then she said, my Aussie for life. So she definitely reacted to these players leaving the team. And it's just unfortunate, man. Just an unfortunate situation, but at the end of the day, it is part of the business. Now, something else that has made news is Dawn Staley. Yes, Dawn Staley reaction after the press conference, because she said she still have nightmares about Caitlin Clark. Let's
She may be the second most physically gifted player in this class behind Awa Pham, but her feel for the game and basketball IQ have been significant concerns throughout the pre-draft process. For a team with no short-term ambitions, the risk is acceptable. Connecticut Sun at 15 represent the notable slide of this draft. Raven Johnson, who many expected to go in the top 10, has fallen based on team needs at each pick ahead.
At this time, we will open up questions for Coach. Meg, we're going to start with you. We'll go Meg, Jonathan, Mitch. And I'll work my way over.
Hey, Don, it's Meg Hall with USA Today. A two-part question for you. One, if you could shed any light on the conversation you had with Gino right before the buzzer there ended. And two, last year to this year obviously is a big swing from Final Four game. Can you just describe the emotions of last year's Final Four game losing and then today winning, and just any sort of redemption or anything that you might feel?
She is projected to land here and should have an immediate impact for a Sun team that needs to maintain some level of competitiveness while managing a transitional roster. Seattle Storm at 16 go back to the board with Cody McMahon, the second best downhill attacker in this class after Nell Angloma. Portland Fire at 17 takes Sheezy, the premier shot creator in this class. At 5'7", she has positional limitations, but her ability to generate her own shot in tight spaces is exceptional.
And just any sort of redemption or anything that you might feel.
One, you can ask Gino the question. You know, he's the one that initiated the conversation. I don't want, what happened there to dampen what we were able to accomplish today. And the difference is, experience. I think losses, when you have losses that hurt, but you really understand the why. I think UConn was
On a team expected to win very few games, she could put up meaningful scoring numbers and earn all-rookie consideration. Connecticut Sun at 18 selects Sarah Williams, a hometown-friendly pick that is more about keeping the fanbase connected than pure roster need. Washington Mystics at 19 follow with another UCLA-connected player, taking Dulich as a glue-type selection who fits the roster's organizational culture. LA Sparks at 20 pick Ashton Jackson, a defensive-minded guard who can contribute immediately to a team trying to compete.
I think UConn was a really well-oiled machine, and if you didn't have disruption and consistent disruption, and you allow them to play as freely as they want to play and shoot, as freely as they shoot. They're very efficient and very, very good. You know, our whole objective was to get them to shoot as inefficiently as possible. Make them put the ball on the floor. Don't give.
With Erica Wheeler already on the roster, the Sparks add depth and perimeter presence. Chicago Sky at 21 select Garzone, who is viewed as the better defensive option compared to other available shooters at this stage. The Sky need bench shooting and rotational versatility, and Garzone addresses both. Toronto Tempo at 22 take Garzon, continuing to fill out their bench with contributors who can slot in alongside their established core.
Efficiently as possible. Make them put the ball on the floor. Don't give them as many catch and shoot opportunities. And I thought our kids really locked in to that. They were scrappy. They were in gap help. They were contesting shots. UConn got back in the game, and they were unbothered, right, by it.
Right.
They knew what they had to do. And I'm just proud because quite honestly, to play them the first time we played them last year, which was in February, I think, or January.
At 23, Golden State are projected to take Frida Booner if she is still available, a player who some evaluators believe could be pushing for late first-round consideration. LA Sparks at 24 select Saffron Shields, an Australian forward who was once projected as a potential top 5 pick for the 2026 class before injuries and an inconsistent showing in the NBL dropped her considerably. The upside of a 6'2" point forward with that kind of projection makes her worth a late second-round stash. Indiana Fever at 25 take Grace Van Sluten, one of the most underrated players in this draft.